Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to be talking about The Blazing World, which is a fantasy horror adventure story? ? About a girl who is trapped in another dimension trying to save her sister who drowned when she was little.
All right. So this movie has Udo Kier in it.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
That's a big plus with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's Udo Kiering it up.
Oh, he's
too,
very
big time.
Udo Kier in this one. Yeah.
You know,
like if you want fuck life in the gallbladder, Udo Kier, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what he's doing here. Now, the other thing about this movie is that this is I don't know what genres it encompasses, but I'll tell you one thing, it's definitely an art house flick.
Yeah. Okay,
this is an art house flick in the way that most people think of art house flicks. This is like Black Moon.
I was about to say that. This is exactly the kind of art house flick, love it or hate it, that most people who hate art house flicks usually think of.
Yes.
You know, This is exactly that, where it's very pretentious, it's very weird for the sake of being weird, and it takes the long way around to make simple points.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? And sometimes it makes the point in such an obtuse manner that it's hard to register that's the point.
Yeah. You're like, oh, well, okay.
That being said, I kind of like it despite all that.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's like, this movie is very much like a very art house pretentious version and a darker horror version of something like, say, Labyrinth. You know, where you have a girl dealing with some sort of like existential crisis, and they're kind of working through it in this weird dimension.
Yeah, in this weird like fantasy world.
Yeah, where they're dealing with like these fantasy creatures and having to do these little trials to try to like get over something that they're currently hung up on. It's kind of like that. Now, it's not as good as Labyrinth.
Oh, well, that's a high bar.
That's a super high bar.
That's an unfair bar, you know?
I would say this movie's more on par with something like Mirror Mask. Not quite Labyrinth, but more like Mirror Mask.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right down to the fact that the movie has some questionable effects at times, even though the set design is gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, it's very pretty.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty movie.
And the makeup design is great too, especially when you like see like hints of Udo Kier's real face.
Yeah.
You know, he's got like this, he's got the Udo Kier face, and then he's got his monster face that you see occasionally.
Yeah, that sometimes shows
it's very
up a little
Pan's
bit.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, it is. It is. No. And it was not bad at all.
No.
It's just really, 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 really odd.
You know that scene in Matrix Revolutions where Neo confronts the architect?
That's Reloaded.
That's Reloaded. Sorry.
Reloaded.
In Matrix Reloaded, where Neo confronts the architect, and it's this very extended scene where there's a lot of complicated technobabble fused in with some philosophical musings.
Yeah. We're kind of hammering in the philosophical core of the story.
And it goes on a little bit longer than it should, like way beyond it making its point.
Yes.
That's almost every scene in this movie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of times where you're just sort of like, we get it!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But then the movie will do something like really weird, and I'll be like, all right, you got me back in.
Yeah. Well, like, that's when, like, look, they knew one thing extremely well. Yeah. When in doubt, go back to Udo Kier.
Yeah.
That shit's gold. It's always gold.
And this movie knows how to hook you right away. Like, it opens up with the drowning of the sister, you know, which is what you expect.
Oh my god. Yeah, when we first watched this movie, you know, they're playing this really loud, boisterous, really incongruous, like, classical music.
Yeah.
You know, like, not like one of the ones that you're, like, really used to hearing, not like a Brahms or Beethoven. This is like, lesser known music from a bygone.
I forget what it's
era.
called, but I'll put the name of it right here because it is a known one, but not as known as some of the more iconic.
Yeah, it's one that classical music fans know, but not anybody outside of that.
Yeah.
And you're watching the scene unfold with these two twin girls by a swimming pool, and
getting fireflies.
Yeah, catching fireflies. I'm just sort of like, please drown in the pool. Please drown in the pool. Please drown. And then she does. And I'm like, yes, score, get baby in a pool.
You know what this scene reminded me of? like, it reminded me of a less sexual version of the opening of Antichrist. Because you have, like, the parents that are, like arguing in the other room while it's cutting to the girl who's about to die. And it's, like, this swelling, like, classical music playing underneath it.
It's like if the opening scene of Antichrist was filmed like Blue Velvet.
Well, exactly. Exactly that. And if instead of fucking, they were fighting. Like, straight up fighting. I'm pretty sure the dad just straight up decks the mom in this scene. It's brutal.
Yeah.
You know, like, you could tell it's just straight up domestic abuse in this family.
Oh, yeah.
Continuing our theme the last few episodes of fucked up families that people should get away from.
Yep.
But, it's a movie that I feel like I gotta put a lot of caveats on because it's if you're not in the right mindset, it's gonna really grate you in the wrong way.
Oh yeah. Like, well, so here's something that will help.
Yeah.
Here's something that will help. Because there is a period of time in the movie where you're like, why is this happening? And that's like everything right after she first pulls up to the house and talks to her parents.
Oh yeah.
Up until the point where Udo Kier reappears.
Yeah.
There is this really weird sequence where she's meeting her friends and going to some club out in the middle of
was like whatever. A really cool club.
Yeah, it's a really cool looking club, but it's also like vacant as shit.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, I think you guys are the only ones here. Is this what rich kids do? You know, like, because they're obviously in like a rich kid neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, they're apparently in like rich kid New England. But
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it's like kind of rural, but also not. So.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, interspersed with like the regular dialogue, a lot of the characters start using this kind of flowery language.
Especially like the boyfriend character?
Yeah, especially the boyfriend character. And it gets really weird because you're sitting there going, who talks like that?
I'm pretty sure that guy was just straight up quoting poetry, but I'm not entirely sure.
Actually, he's quoting poetry from the original manuscript, The Blazing World.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. This is based on...
extremely loosely based.
Yeah, because apparently the plot has nothing to do with the plot of the actual thing.
The actual plot of The Blazing World, the original story that was written in the 1600s, it's basically Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, okay,
It's one of those types of stories. Someone gets sucked into a fantasy world, and then they become king or queen, and blah blah. You know, like that. And
isekai story. I forget what it's called in Japan.
In Japan it's isekai.
Yeah, isekai story. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and that's pretty. Yeah, so they're quoting from some of the prose that's in that story because in that story characters will talk in poetry.
Yeah.
And so they're obviously doing that here, but there's no warning that this is going to start happening.
Because we've had normal conversations up until that point, and then it starts happening and then that starts happening more and more as the movie goes on.
Yeah. And then it stops.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Well, because the thing that's not... Okay, it becomes clear by the time the movie ends.
Yeah.
But what you're not clear on when you first watch the movie for the first time is at what point we've entered the fantasy world.
Yeah.
Because you get this slow fucking like unveiling as the movie goes on of reality, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a spoiler there.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. But like, you're not quite sure when you've unentered reality. So the moment they start talking that way, you're like, okay, is this
real life or not?
Is this real life or is it fantasy?
Caught in a landslide. No escape from reality.
Exactly.
You know, like, oh God. Yeah, no. Yeah, it is. That's where the movie kind of flounders a bit because you find yourself going, what? I'm now just confused as to what is literally happening.
Well, that's the thing I will say about this movie. You compare it to something like Pan's Labyrinth, you know?
Yeah, which does it extremely expertly.
Yeah, with Pan's Labyrinth, you're never lost. Everything's very clear. And the messages getting across in every scene is 100% to the point, and no one talks longer than they need to.
Exactly, yeah.
This movie is the opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much worth watching. It's not a piece of shit movie.
No,
it just it's got a lot of amateur storytelling mistakes.
You do have to have a high tolerance for pretentious art house cinema. And if you do, then you'll probably
you'll probably dig it.
Yeah, you'll dig it. You'll dig it. You'll be able to get some enjoyment out of it like we did, because there's a lot to like in this movie. I am interested in seeing, like, because this movie kind of reminded me of like House of a Thousand Corpses in that it felt like a first-time filmmaker throwing in the kitchen, everything in the kitchen
everything
sink.
in the kitchen sink, and then just like being like, well, this is what we got.
Yeah, I might never make a movie again, so I got to do everything.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, even though not everything works, I admire it.
Yeah. You know? Well, it holds together. It's certainly on a plot level, it holds together better than House of a Thousand Corpses.
Well, fair.
Fair. Because it starts with an ending, and it starts with an intention and ends with that intention. Mm-hmm. Unlike House of a Thousand Corpses, which I love that movie, don't get me wrong, but Rob Zombie's like, oh my god, my original ending is so fucking boring. Quick, throw in Hellraiser shit. And
then the movie goes insane, and I love it.
Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Now we're in an underground labyrinth, and there's zombies? Like, okay.
But I definitely also recommend it if you are a fan of movies like Labyrinth, movies like Mirror Mask, movies like Pan's Labyrinth. Mm-hmm. This movie is the more art house pretentious version of those movies, which is funny because I think a lot of people would call Pan's Labyrinth art house.
I definitely would, but like,
this is more like
really good art house.
Yeah, this is more like what people think of when they hear the word art house.
Yeah. This movie's got a lot more flaws, and like, it's way more pretentious than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like if you've been able to like curb about like 20% of the pretension, but this is actually one of the things I liked about it. Usually, if you get rid of the pretension, you realize that the movie itself is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that's a real problem. Yeah. This movie's actually not a piece of shit when you get rid of that pretension.
I would not say it is.
If you peel that back, you would be like, no, this is actually still really a solid story here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and an interesting journey that explored in an interesting way,
Yeah. Just maybe, pull back a little bit.
Yeah. Like,
maybe let the audience in.
Let the audience in, and also, like, when you've made your point, you don't need to keep having them say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Like, I think the scene for me that stuck out the most was the scene in the sand house. That scene felt like the conversation went on a little too long.
that did go on a bit too long. Well, it was especially weird because one of the things I did like is I did like the one of the things I did like about that sequence is I did feel like we were about to walk into a Tarsem Singh film.
Yeah, you did feel like it for a minute. Yeah, like any minute.
Like, there actually are like shots in the movie that you're just sort of like, you can tell that Tarsem Singh was like an influence, and in a very good way.
Oh yeah, as much as some of the CGI elements are pretty cheap and wonky, the set design, the way the films are, the way the shots are framed, is really gorgeous. Especially as you start leaving the reality and entering the fantasy world. Yeah, you start getting these more fantastical set designs.
Yeah, because it does German impressionistic.
Yes.
It's German impressionistic, but without like stark black and white. It's in full color.
Absolutely, I would agree. That's exactly what it was going for.
Yeah.
Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, we are slowly reaching the limit of what we can really talk about without just spoiling shit. So, if anything we've said so far has enticed you, the movie is currently available to rent on various platforms. Pick your poison and enjoy. I don't remember. Is there a dead animal in this one? I don't. Besides fireflies.
Besides fireflies, not really. I don't.
There's just the dead sister.
Yeah. There's mainly the dead sister.
I will say this. There is, especially, it happens really early on. There is some and later on in the movie, there is a lot of suicidal media.
Yeah, it's a lot of suicide imagery.
Yeah. So if that's like a thing that's a little too much for you because you struggle with something like that, then fair enough. Feel free to avoid it.
Yeah. But with that said, like that stuff felt right.
Oh, it felt right.
Like, it felt real.
Well, because this character was in a dark place before she entered this world, right?
Yeah.
And that.
So in those scenes where she's like contemplating ending her life, you're just sort of like, well, Yeah.
It kind of tells you everything you need to know about where she is. You know? It absolutely. And why she needs to go to another dimension. To try to save her sister.
She has to fucking walk into the Udo Kier and fucking like do some shit. Oh my God, that opening scene, the opening shot with Udo Kier next to the hole in the universe.
Yeah, that's one of the first things you see in this. Is her sister dying and this shot of Udo Kier and this hole to this other dimension. And you're just like, what? All right, I'm in. And with that, my fellow Gorehounds, we're going to move on to the spoilers.
Okay, so probably the big meta spoiler is that the Udo Kier character is really all about despair.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's all about despair. I looked up the name of the character. The name of the character is Leonid. Something like that. Something like that. But the point is that it's actually it's an old English word that means to deceive or to cover up.
Yeah.
You know.
So basically, he represents the despair that is keeping her down.
Yeah.
Because literally shown by her being held down by him.
Yes.
Drowning in the water.
Yeah. He's literally despair is literally drowning her.
Which is why he keeps trying to get her to go deeper and deeper down.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And she reaches that point at the end where she's about to go through the door and decides not to, and decides to go back and catch her breath, so to speak, like get back into the light.
Yeah, to deciding to live. You know, at least for a bit longer.
And that's when you realize that's towards the end of the movie where you kind of realize the point where she actually entered the fantasy world was actually a lot earlier than I expected.
Yeah. It's the minute she gets in. It's the minute she enters the fantasy world. The minute she's standing by the tub contemplating suicide. Yeah,
exactly. It's basically it's and this entire thing is actually reaching her to the point where she's not gonna kill herself and join her sister. Letting her sister go, so to speak.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, kind of repairing her own family through this, because
as much as she can.
Yeah.
As much as it can.
Because you get the impression towards the end of the movie where she reunites with her family that she's like, all right, I'm going to start the healing process for all of us, you know? Like,
yeah. Like, it's not going to save the house. It's not going to save the living situation.
Not going to save your marriage because, sorry.
Oh, no, that's done.
Sorry, Dad, you're abusive.
Yeah. That's fucking done. And fucking, like, one of the things I did like is that I hadn't seen this before.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen... All right, so one of the conceits... Sorry, I have to explain one of the conceits of the film.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the conceits of the film is that she has to find 3 keys. Each one is guarded by a different demon.
Yes.
And the demons are very obviously her mother, her father, and herself.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the things that I really liked was they were unbelievably fair to the parental demons.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at the mom and it's basically, bad things happen to you. You do also realize that you're the cause of all your other problems at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no one but you doing this. You know, you have cut yourself off. You have done bad things and you are about to sacrifice your own daughter, you know, the one that lived, you know, on the altar of this grief.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, pull back.
Yeah.
You know, and when they get to the dad, there is this, that long, that soliloquy that he has, where he's like, I know what I am, you know, but nobody cares because I'm a man.
Yeah.
You know, and you're realizing, oh, this is why Dad's an alcoholic. Like, because he just suppresses everything.
He's got masculinity problems.
Yeah.
He's suppressing everything, and the only way he knows how to express anything is through violence.
Yep.
You know, and it's even manifested in his demon form, where he's fucking torn his own face apart.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no one to commit violence to, so he just started to do it to himself, you know? You know?
Yeah, if there's no one there to hit, he'll hit himself.
Which is a great metaphor for his alcoholism too, like the slow descent into alcoholism. He's tearing himself apart. You know.
Yeah, and of course, like all he really wants is like that kindness.
Yeah,
but he's put everyone else in the world in a position where they can't give it to him.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. He is his own reason why no one's kind. You know?
Exactly, and that continues when they get to the demon that is the girl herself, which is what's her demon? Her demon is literally a reflection of herself, which represents the twin that's dead.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, she needs there's a part of her that's like can't deal with the fact that her twin sister drowned in a fucking
and she
pool.
Almost fails that test.
Yeah, she almost does.
She succeeds all the other tests, and she almost fails on that one because she almost gives into the despair and almost actually cuts herself.
Yeah. She almost does it.
Yeah.
But then she's like, wait a minute, do I really have to do this?
Yeah.
Do I really have to? And, that's when she starts to realize that's the moment where, like, Jennifer Connelly, you have no power over me. That kind of moment, like, things start to
and she has that moment with Udo Kier, which is really great. And you start to see more and more of Udo Kier's demon face.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is about Udo Kier. Just, when he starts, like, shaking or twitching.
Oh, yeah.
No, you have no choice.
I really love that moment really early on where she's like, who are you? And he gives this long soliloquy about being like a dark tree in the forest.
I am the darkest tree
in the forest. And then he like just follows that up with, my name is Leonard.
Yeah.
Udo Kier, only you could fucking pull off that line.
Oh yeah. This is what I meant in the first half of the vlog, where I was like, this is fuck life in the gallbladder, Udo Kier.
Yeah.
He's just doing it the entire time, and it's beautiful.
So the whole idea is that like Udo Kier has tasked her to find these keys because these keys will unlock the door that will allow her to bring her sister through the dimensional portal and bring her back to life. And basically the main character has to learn to let her sister go and move on with her life.
Yeah, because that girl, she's gone, baby.
Because the actual bringing the sister back is her killing herself. And that's...
Yeah. Yeah, she's trying to bring her sister back, but she's killing her. She's actually doing is killing herself.
Exactly. And of course, the despair wants her to kill herself because that's the despair's
job. That's what it does.
It's the depression. It's
yeah. Some people some people thought that like Udo Kier represented death, and I'm like, not exactly, because like, I'm like, no, it's obviously a reflection of the character as opposed to, because she doesn't learn how to put it. When you run into a deific force in a film or a story or something, and it's supposed to actually be the deific force, it usually gives you an actually useful piece of information.
Yeah,
it does actually do something that helps you. Whereas Udo Kier doesn't.
Yeah.
It's all a trick.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, well, that doesn't really lie.
No. There are keys.
Yeah.
You will join your sister, but the cost.
Yeah.
The cost is your life. You're back with your sister, but now you've given up your life.
Yep.
And she's got to learn to not give up her life and learn to live with the pain and heal.
Yeah.
She hasn't healed her entire life,
Ooh, no, none of the three of them have.
No, it's torn them apart. And they were already in a bad place to begin with, because it's obvious based on that one flashback at the beginning of the movie that dad was always kind of abusive to mom. So
yeah, whatever was happening between mom and dad was already,
and mom was already kind of neurotic back then,
Yeah, family was already dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Just the
sister
sent them over the edge.
The sister dying started the slow death of the family, so to speak.
Yep.
Oh man, it is a very intense movie. I'll say that.
Yeah. I also like the image of like the family. She is contemplating suicide while the family is self-destructing.
Yeah. That fucking shot of the dad like trying to play golf while listening to goth music.
Yeah.
But he's drunk as fuck and he's trying to golf on his little like homemade putt fucking thing.
Yeah.
But he's missing and like like breaking glass, and you're just like, ooh, okay, all right,
you're not dealing well at all.
And then like the conversation with the mom, which goes on way too long, by the way. The conversation with the mom at the beginning could have probably been cut down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the mom's just a neurotic mess.
Yeah, she's a neurotic mess, and she's like she's on like antipsychotics and depression meds to the point where she's barely making sense.
The one decision that those two are making that is the correct one is they should divorce.
Yes. Yes.
And they should have done it a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like that's it was also what I also liked about that, because by the end of the story that's also a preserving life by letting go of letting go of this thing you think that you should be holding on to.
Yeah, absolutely.
By letting go of the idea of the family, like both her parents are alive, keep living.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't think of a better way to say it than that.
Yeah. Okay. So I really like this movie.
I like this movie too. It's flawed as shit. It's gonna grate you if you're not into these kind of art house films. But I think if you can stomach it, there's some really good shit here. Like I love the way this movie is shot at times. Like that one shot of the orb. And the dimensional portals to different dimensions that like the doorways.
Yeah.
That entire room was just like, oh man, this is like something straight out of like Return to Oz. I love it.
Yeah.
They
looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Although some of the fucking animated smoke effects, you were like, well, clearly that was a post.
The animated smoke effects and the animated fireflies looked like really cheap.
That looked like After Effects.
But the actual set designs and the camera work and the makeup effects when they actually start showing some of the demons, that looks good.
Yeah. Like this is one of those I really want to see what the same director, writer, and team.
Who is the main character, by the way? The director, writer is the main character.
Plays the main character.
Yeah.
I want to see what they do with their next film.
Me too.
This is definitely one of those. I don't think this movie was quite entirely baked all the way through, but it shows a huge amount of promise.
To put it like in back into the House of Thousand Corpses perspective, I think she's got a Devil's Rejects in her.
Oh, something of that quality.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I don't know if it'll be her second film, but maybe her third. But I think she's got it in her.
Yeah. I think there's like just some real like there's something that should win an Oscar in here. I think
absolutely. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, you can find me on Twitch, where I stream twice a week on Sunday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can stay updated on when I stream by going to my Twitter at Counting Jack, and by also following me on Instagram at Satanic Jackula, where occasionally I post really snarky pictures and
the best kind.
Yeah,
the best kind.
Yeah, where I make fun of positivity and wellness, and
there's a lot of that on. There's a lot of that on Instagram, and it's insufferable. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, and the less I hear of that, like fucking dun. If I don't have to hear that again, it'll be fucking great, because like I found myself going like, dear Instagram, stop being TikTok. I don't mind TikTok, but you're bad at it. Signed, me.
Fair enough. Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, then be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And I did not have a hashtag pre-prepared for this one, so do you got a suggestion?
Hashtag Blazing Udo.
Okay. Hashtag Blazing Udo. If you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Blazing Udo. That way I know, that way Jack knows, and that way the world knows you watched this vlog all the way through.
And remember, that's a UDO. Three little letters.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, we have one more vlog we're going to record this week, and believe it or not, it's actually the darkest of the 3 movies we watched this week.
Yeah. But we are saving the best for last.
We are saving the best for last. Oh, in fact, the next movie that we're about to vlog is 100% on my favorite movies of the year list. It is that good. So we will talk about that in the next video. So peace out.
Man. I miss having Udo Kier in movies.
Me too.
It was really,
Me too.
Really nice to see him again.
Especially like when you could like reliably find him on like the most bullshit movies like every year.
Yeah. Like even when he's in a bullshit movie, I'm like, it's Udo Kier. I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're like, did that make the movie less bullshit? No, but it made it extremely more entertaining bullshit.
100%. That is the Kier effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Udo.
The Udo narrative dissonance.
The Udo narrative.
when the Udo is amazing, but the movie sucks. All right, cut. This vlog isn't getting better than that.
Blood-red chalice, you must take a sip. Sit right back for a flick. See gore and entrails and slimy ink. Welcome, you gore